bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum da 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 dum ba da 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 bum ba dum bum bum ba da da. Getting too old to get that high note. Hi everyone. Hello from beautiful springtime in East Texas, and then we've got someone from beautiful upstate New York. That's Deb, and then we've got Tara from sunny Western Australia. Hello, my friends. It's so great to see all of you. Rapid City, South Dakota, and where else do we? Upstate New York. I just left upstate New York. And springtime in East Texas, says Joanne. It is so lovely to see all of you. Good evening, my friends. My name is Joanne Calabrese, and I am here every Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to teach you what I know about homeopathy and to share the information and to help you study, to stay curious. Yes, my friends, this is not the time to give over our decisions in our healthcare to someone else, a professional who is in bed with, let's not go any further, shall we? There are good doctors. I don't want to disparage good medical doctors. They exist. There is no doubt about it. But be ever so careful, my friends, because the profession has been commandeered, shall I say? It's kind of a nicer word than what I might otherwise say, by industry and government. And so please be wary. Be careful of that, because it impacts your life. And so, for those of you who don't know me, this is the kind of conversation that we have here on Monday nights. And for those who do know me, hi, friends. It's great to see you all. Jeanette from Sarasota, and hello, Peggy from Central Texas, and Joe from New Hampshire, and hello, Rona from Ajax, Ontario. So great to see all of you. Thank you for joining me tonight. It's my pleasure. This is a big part of nourishment in my life, is to teach homeopathy. It's what I love. So it goes deep for me, because what I decided to do back in 1987 was my goal was to keep at that point, one child out of the grips of antibiotics and or at least question them. That's really what I was doing, was just questioning. Just wanted to know if there was another solution. And so I decided I better learn. Hi, Bob and Deb from Kentucky. And Deidre, I think it is. Oh, no. Yeah, I think it's Deidre. I can't say it. Or Deidre from Michigan. Hi. And so I decided I needed to find answers, because I could not depend on someone who was, shall I say, cavalier about injecting or administering, I should say, products, ingredients into my very healthy newborn child. And so with that, I took it from there and took it all the way to this, to teaching you, to starting an Academy of Practical Homeopathy in the U.S. and to teach through my Joette's Learning Center, and to author books, and to get my manuscripts out and get the information out, and how homeopathy can actually be much easier than you might imagine by using protocols. 90% of the protocols I teach are Banerjee protocols, because I spent 8 consecutive years, not full years, but 8 trips to India to work with the great doctors Prasanta and Prateep Banerjee. And so what I learned there, I brought back and I hand to you, my friends. So we have a conversation to have tonight. And the conversation is about acne. So if we can help keep our children, our teens, our adolescents off of birth control pills, kind of killing a mosquito with a bazooka, wouldn't you say? Using a birth control pill taken daily to treat acne that is ridiculously easy to deal with homeopathically and perhaps through diet as well, but especially through homeopathy. It's going way overboard. Giving a teenage girl birth control pills that now suppress her entire reproductive system. But hey, that's the world in which we live, isn't it, my friends? Giving young boys during adolescence antibiotics taken daily is something we want to do whatever we can to avoid, because it's now, once they get on that train, it's a train that goes furiously through the countryside. Yeah, are we up? Yeah, I think we're doing fine. Yes. All righty. So today we're going to talk about what I think is rather interesting, and that is that an independent U.S. lab published a report that linked some prescribed and over-the-counter acne products with high levels of carcinogenic benzene. Benzene, my friends, benzene is also happens to be in nail polish too, so I want you to be aware of that as well. This company tested dozens of products with active ingredient benzoyl peroxide, including Proactive, Clearasil. Hey, listen, just because it's been around for 50 years doesn't mean Panoxyl, Clinique. Oh, it sounds ever so French, doesn't it? Targets Up and Up, etc. And the lab reportedly found some of these products had up to 9 times the FDA's recommended limit for benzene. The report said that benzoyl peroxide in some of the acne treatments could form even higher levels of benzene when stored at high temperatures over a long period of time. You know, like in a car that got warm. All right. This is where we're coming from, my friends. Now, listen, we can do... I fixed my little fluffy hair there. We can do this, my friends, with so many of these kinds of chemicals. We can do this with antibiotics. We could show the detrimental effects. Steroids, of course, birth control pills. We could keep going. It is a train wreck after a few years, and it is very rarely implicated that it was the drug for the acne that caused the trouble. But you can't fool Mother Nature, my friends. I know we want to. I know we want to just trust and believe that this is an answer, that this particular drug is the answer, just like the new one for weight loss. We just want to believe, don't we? Wouldn't it be nice and easy just to lose a quick 20 pounds just by taking an injection once a month? Oh my gosh, how simple, how easy. If it's too quick a result, it is generally not real. Or it will have consequences, is what I really mean to say. So, let me just take a sip of water because I had something rather salty tonight. Okay. Now, let me start by saying I have an entire course called Skin the Ugly Truth. And in that course, I go into great detail with protocols for all kinds of skin conditions. Because sometimes, is it acne? Is it eczema? Is it psoriasis? Is it fungus? Is it a species of 2 of those? Is it a species of 3 of those? And what are the medicines that we know to use? So should you be interested in going further than just getting a quick answer tonight, although I will be be providing you with some pretty good information tonight. I urge you to go to joetteslearningcenter.com. Scroll down and look at the courses. And this one, as I said, is called Skin the Ugly Truth. So I'm not just giving you the truth of the ugliness, I'm also giving you the solutions to skin conditions with specific protocols. So my friends, it's so wonderful to see you here. Please comment, like, and share. I can't urge you enough. It really matters here. Subscribe too. We're on X and Facebook and Rumble and YouTube, and send your friends, because people need to know this information. They need to be able to discern for themselves. They need to be able to back off with confidence, so that instead of saying, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid, what should I do? They're saying, oh cool, I know exactly what to do. Okay, let us start with one idea here, and that is, when you have a question about a particular condition, what remedies can be used, check this first. Joette Calabrese, Acne. It'll come right up. 10 years ago, I wrote an article called Pippa, Pimples, and Homeopathy. It was 10 years ago. And the protocol that I taught in that blog, that's still up, still there, still holds. Why does it still hold? Because it's a Banerjee protocol. And the Banerjees have held to their protocols for over 120 years. Maybe it's 130. I'm never really quite getting that exactly straight. So that is where you're going to find one of the protocols that I'm going to discuss tonight. So that was published in 2014. It was titled again, Pippa, P-I-P-P-A, Pimples, and Homeopathy. And so I urge you to read that, because what I'm going to tell you tonight may be too fast for someone who's new. For those of you who know me and have been around a long time, this will seem like old hat to you. But for those who are new to this, it would probably be good to hear me and then read about it in my blog. Okay? I've penned that blog for, I think it's 14 years. Every Sunday night I publish it with a new condition and another protocol that you can download. Alrighty. So, I want to tell you a couple of things. One is that I do not get kickbacks. I'm going to say this almost every week, because although I believe in a number of homeopathic pharmacies that produce the medicines, no one pays me to say this on any level. There is nothing that I get from them other than the joy of being able to share what I believe is valuable to you, for your family, and to you. So first, let's start with something that's just come out. It's just come to my attention. Boron, otherwise known in French as boron. I always massacre that. They have a new product called Acne Relief Kit. Now, the reason they call it a kit is you have to read the directions, okay? It's important. There are only 3 medicines, I think, in this medicine. There are only 3 homeopathic medicines. They're all fairly low. They're not medicines that the first medicine that they include, I've never used this medicine for acne. I've not done so because I have found that the Banerjee protocols generally work as they say, time and again, those Banerjees, that in 80 to 85% of the time, the protocol that is disseminated for a particular condition will act in 80 to 85% of the population that has that particular condition. So I've not used this product that Boron calls Acne Relief Kit, but hey, it sounds to me like it's pretty darn interesting. I've not used it. Let me know. Let me know how it goes. There are 3 ingredients: Eugenia Camp 6C, Calibromadum 30C, and Selenium Metallicum 6C. And I'm not going to tell you how to use it, because what they call it a kit, because there are specific instructions that you need to read in order to determine how to use it. I like when homeopathic pharmacies come up with combination medicines such as this, because it makes it easier for people who know nothing about homeopathy, who don't happen to be here tonight, who don't go the extra mile. They haven't learned about it enough yet. They don't realize what homeopathy even is. They're still thinking homeopathy means home medicine, home remedies, or that it means holistic, which it does not mean that, any of that. So I like when Boron and other homeopathic pharmacies come out with combination medicines and they're in Walmart or they're in health food stores or they're in Wegmans, etc. I like that because then it brings people in who might not otherwise know what homeopathy is. They just look at it and say, oh, look, acne relief kit. Let's give it a try. And then that turns them perhaps into someone who can be a little more fascinated by homeopathy and then look into it for colds and flus or arthritis or anxiety attacks or fear of being alone or whatever it might be. That's the first tip that I have tonight, is to start with that. Now, let me also say that should you decide to purchase that from Boron, you can get it on Amazon, but you can also go to Boron USA if you're in the US. I'm sorry it's not available in Canada in this fashion, or Australia or Europe, because I have lots of people who come here either tonight or they come the rest of the week to catch up. If you go to Boron and you order this medicine, this remedy, when you're ready to check out, put my name in the bottom with the little box, and just put my first name, Joette, Joette, and you will get a discount for having done that. Now, I do not have an affiliate program. I'm giving you the discount. Instead of my getting an affiliate fee, a kickback, instead I want it to go to you. Because then I expect something of you. I expect you then, because I've given to you, such as in tonight, I expect you to turn other people onto homeopathy. And I expect you to go further and deeper with your understanding of homeopathy. Okay. Boron, Boiron USA. And when you check out, use my name. Alrighty. Yeah, it's 20% discount. That's right. With the discount code Joette. All right, let's talk about Pippa and the acne that she had that I wrote about 10 years ago, because this still stands. Homeopathy is not what I call magpie medicine, where it's, something cool and new, and it's a different way of doing things, even though I think Boron has come up with a very interesting product. But generally speaking, we have protocols that have held the test of time for over a century. And that's the protocol that I give to you in Pippa, Pimples, and Homeopathy back in 2014. And this is the protocol. It's Heparsulf, Heparsulfuricum, Heparsulf 200C mixed with Arsenicum album 200C. Now, I've written it a couple different ways. And in that version, it's 200. Those are mixed together every other day. One dose every other day. Now, I've also seen it act nicely for very extreme situations of acne where it's used not every other day, but once a day. Now, what's extreme? My friends, just because your child is complaining, or that you may be complaining, that the acne is really something you really hate, let's take it with a grain of salt. If it's really severe, now we might use it once a day. Now, what happens if it's cystic? I still use this protocol. I have used others. There are other medicines that we can use that we could even add to this, or that we could use instead of. But I also use this same protocol if it's cystic acne, as well as acne that's a lower level. So if you don't know what cystic acne is, this is what you do. What is cystic acne? And you can look at images online, etc. Now here's let me take a sip of my water, and then I want to tell you something that I think is really important. Yes. Thank you, Carrie. What are your expectations? Do you expect that the acne is going to be gone in a couple of days? Do you believe that acne that perhaps has been suppressed by steroids or antibiotics or allergy shots or all of those kinds of treatments, do you expect it to go like that and it's done within a few weeks, in a month, 2 months? How long will it take? Well, let me mention this to you. That if your expectations are off and you expect it to work overnight, weeks, or even in a month, you will lose out on an opportunity to see how efficacious homeopathy can be. And I also want to mention that if the person gets worse after using this medicine, is that a good thing or a bad thing? You tell me. Is it good when we see someone getting worse after using a homeopathic medicine? Do we want to see that? I'm going to ask you that. Let us see what you folks think is going on with that kind of information. Alrighty? I do want you to, I want you to share that with me because I think it's so important. Bad, says Meredith. Exclamation point. No, we don't want them getting worse, says Dr. Christy. Hi, Christy. Alice says, it takes about 90 days to heal from deepest layer of epidermis when you have a bad cut or burn. So cystic acne probably takes that long. It can. It really can. Healing crisis, says R.N. Walsh. I'm going to tell you, let's see what else everyone else is saying here. Let's look at some of these others. Healing crisis. Okay. Isn't the body healing by flushing through the skin? Yes, it is trying to do that. It is trying to flush through the skin, Bob. That's what acne, yeah, you're right. That's what acne is doing. It means it's uprooting if it gets worse, says, I missed the name. Replying, okay, let's see. Most of the time, if it gets worse, it's the wrong medicine. It's good, says someone else. Okay, I'm going to tell you that if you see a little worsening within a day or so, I might leave it alone. And then I might also measure how bad is it getting. Are we talking about, oh my gosh, it's worse than ever. Now it's itching. Now I can't sleep. Oh my gosh, Mom, look what this looks like. This is terrible. So I'm going to tell you that generally speaking, when we're using protocols, and especially when we're using remedies that are repeated every day, every other day, when that's a specific protocol that I teach, it's very rare that there's an aggravation. It's very rare that it gets worse. So I'm going to say that if it gets worse, especially after a couple of days, it's the wrong medicine. Something is wrong. Unless you can say, well, what did you eat? You had pizza and, I don't know, and cookies and diet soda and Halloween candy. Oh, well, I don't know that I would blame the medicine for that. Let me just say, my friends, that when things get worse, it generally means the medicine is wrong. Either the medicine is wrong, the potency is wrong, or the frequency is wrong. Or there's not enough repetition. I know. I get it. I understand that we all would believe that if we repeat something, it's going to get worse. No, repetition brings it down. So if it's getting a little bit worse, just a little bit worse, by repeating it that next day or 2 days later, it brings it down. But in some circles, classical, for example, they don't repeat. I was classical for many years, 15 years, full-time classical homeopath was I. And I believed that if it got worse, that was a good thing, that it was an aggravation and it meant just hold on, it'll get better. And indeed, that sometimes does happen in classical. But it was one of the reasons I abandoned classical, one of the many, is because I did not want my clients to suffer, nor my family members. And so by using this method of repetition, prescribed repetition, what I mean by prescribed, not that you're prescribing a medicine, but by using a specific repetition once every other day, or in certain cases, once every day, it's very specific. It's not, gee, I wonder what it could be. Let's try to figure out, and let's see if everybody else in the group that are homeopaths come up with different ideas. No. We want protocols. We want science, my friends. We want proof. We want clinical evidence that this is the way it works. Heap ourself 200 mixed with arsenicum 200 every other day for acne. Done. If we get worse, it's time to back off, to stop. Not back off, to stop. So, expectations matter. You see, if you're accustomed to treating acutes, such as an ear infection, otitis media, conjunctivitis, strep throat, or an injury, those are acutes, my friends. Colds, flus, coughs, those are acute. If you're accustomed to treating those with homeopathy and you're accustomed to seeing a shift that moves quickly, then you're going to misunderstand that acne is not an acute, it is a chronic. And because it's chronic, it's going to take longer. 2 months, 3 months, my friends. And do we expect that in 2 or 3 months that it's clear and the face is gorgeous? Or do we expect that we're going to see a shift? Oh, what was very extreme, it looked horrible. Maybe out of a 1 out of 10 or 0 to 10, it was an 8, and now it's a 6. That's an increment of shift, wouldn't you say? And that when the eruptions were coming, they were coming day after day after day, and now the new eruptions are coming maybe once a week. Still coming, but now they're coming once a week. So it's less intense, and they're not coming as frequently. And when they do come, they don't last as long now. In other words, one eruption that might be quite unsightly and even painful won't last as long. That's what we're looking for. What we're looking for is an indication of any one of those 3, what I call magic markers: less intensity, lasting for a shorter period of time, and a larger space between each episode. Indicates to us that the medicine is correct. Hence, we stay with it. We stay with it. I'm not going to talk about scarring tonight, but you will find scarring in other of my, I'm pretty sure I've written about it on my blog. If not, you will find that in my course, Skin the Ugly Truth. Now, let me just see what else I've got here that I want to make sure that you know. Hepar sulfarsenicum 200. This is the Banerjee protocol for most acne situations, but there are extenuating circumstances. Sometimes, if the acne is itchy, we might use a different medicine. We might, instead of, for example, arsenicum album, we might use antimonium crudum 6. You see how we're going to shift it slightly. And in other cases, we might use Floricum acidum 200C once a day instead of Hepar sulfarsenicum 200 every other day. How would you know to do that? Well, let me tell you how you know. You know by utilizing the medicine for 2-3 months and then observing. Don't observe day to day, my friends. Don't do that. I urge you not to do that. If you're the mom who's treating her child, her teenager, day to day it's going to drive you and your child crazy. Instead, you say, let's give it 2 to 3 months. Let's see what happens. And at the end of that time, if you take a photograph and you also are taking notes as to the degree to which it is presenting, and then you go and look at it, those notes on such and such a date, and here's the photograph also, and how painful it was or how unsightly it was, whether it's the face, around the ears, the back, the shoulders, matters not, my friends. If it is bad, you want to write down, it's an 8. It's a 10. It's a 4. Whatever it is, you want that written down, because when you look at it in 2 months or 3 months, and I would urge you really to wait till 3 months, and you go to observe, you're going to look at, here is where we were. This is the baseline. And now it's like there's a transparency up on top of it. And what is happening now? And you're going to look through that transparency and compare what's happening now to what you observed before. And if you see that there is a difference between these 2 times, the first time you observed and administered the medicine, and the second time you observed 2 to 3 months later, and there's a shift, what does that tell us? It tells us that the medicine is acting and that we should not give up. We should carry on. We carry on and we carry on because this medicine doesn't just say, okay, in 2 to 3 months, if it's not gone, it's done. We're not going to use it anymore. Absolutely not. It means it's the right medicine and we need to give it more time. Because each week, month that we use it, it uproots it a little bit further, goes in deeper and goes a little deeper. But generally we see the greatest shift in the first couple of months. And then after that, we're going to see a lesser shift and a lesser shift and a lesser shift. Because if it was a 10 when it started on a scale of 1 to 10, and now it's a 5 2 to 3 months later, that's a 50% improvement. The next 50% improvement would mean that I have to go from a 5 to a 2.5. It's not as dramatic looking, is it? The comparison is just not as dramatic, even though it's still 50% improvement. Okay. So if at the 1.5 mark and you haven't seen a movement, okay to continue? That's what I'm saying. What is that? I don't know what you mean by 1.5 mark. We want to see it for minimum 2 months, unless it's much worse after using it. Minimum 2 months, more likely 3 months. If you abandon the medicine too early, my friends, you will have lost an opportunity. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Let's see some good questions. You've got great questions. You always do. Okay, 1.5 months is not long enough, my friends. Oh my, it's already 8:30 Eastern time. I'm afraid I have to dash off. I've got a group. What kind of group do I have tonight? I am meeting with one of my Gateway to Homeopathy groups. And if you're not a member of a Gateway to Homeopathy group, I urge you to go to Joette's Learning Center, scroll down to Gateway to Homeopathy so that you can join a group and have this kind of information on a regular basis. In fact, it's usually every week. And so with that, I say God bless to all of you. Mwah. See you next week. Bye now. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. Athusa no dairy, it's elementary with arnica head, arsenica fed, spigelia slither, orms from wither, no more firm. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Bella so red and arnica head, drosera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cuprum to rigid, and crude itches, calica barnicum, let it melt on your gum, bovies to wheat are some great ways to treat ya. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. Athusa, no dairy, it's elementary. With arnica head, arsenica fed, spigelia slither, orms from wither, no more infirm. My family needs of me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Bella so red and arnica head, drosera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cuprum to rigid, and crude itches, calica bonicum, let it melt on your gumbo, vista weed are some great ways to treat ya. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies.